Have you ever done everything right and still ended up at the bottom of a pit? Not because of your mistakes, not because of your sin, not because you were in the wrong place, but because someone who was supposed to love you put you there. That is the story of Joseph. And if you have ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, this chapter was written for you. Let me set the scene. Jacob had 12 sons, and he loved Joseph more than all of them. He gave him a coat of many colors, a special robe, a visible sign to everyone in the family that Joseph was different, that Joseph was favored. Now, before you judge Jacob, understand something. Jacob himself knew what it felt like to be the less favored son. His own father, Isaac, preferred his brother Esau. He knew the wound. And somehow, knowing the wound, he gave it to his other sons anyway. Because that is what unhealed pain does. It reproduces itself in the people around you. The brothers saw the coat, and they hated Joseph. They could not speak a kind word to him. And then Joseph had a dream.
By the gods, do you see it?
Actually, he had two dreams, and both of them said the same thing. One day, you will bow down to me. Now, Joseph told his brothers the dream. And I want to ask you something. Was that wise? Probably not. Joseph was 17 years old. And 17-year-olds are not always wise. But here is the thing. The dream was real. It came from God. And the fact that Joseph was imperfect in how he handled it did not make it less true. God does not only speak to perfect people. He speaks to 17-year-olds who sometimes say the wrong thing. The brothers hated him even more for the dream. His father rebuked him. But his father also kept the matter in mind. Something about it landed differently with Jacob. He had seen God work in impossible ways before. So he kept it in mind. One day, Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers who were tending flocks far away. And Joseph went obediently, without argument. His father said, "Go," and he went. The brothers saw him coming from a distance. And before he even arrived, they were already plotting. Here comes the dreamer. Come, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. Then we will say that a fierce animal has devoured him, and we will see what will become of his dreams. We will see what will become of his dreams. They were not just trying to kill Joseph. They were trying to kill the dream. They wanted to prove that what God showed him would never happen. They wanted to be the ones who decided his future. Reuben, the eldest brother, stepped in. Do not shed blood. Throw him into this pit in the wilderness. But do not lay a hand on him. Reuben planned to come back later and rescue Joseph quietly. He wanted to do the right thing, but he was not willing to stand up publicly and do it. And that kind of half courage is almost as dangerous as no courage at all. So when Joseph arrived, they stripped him of his robe, the coat of many colors. That coat represented everything he was to his father: the love, the favor, the future. They stripped it off him, and they threw him into the pit. The pit was empty. There was no water in it.
In a pit you did not deserve.
And then they sat down to eat. Sat down to eat, while their brother was in the pit, screaming. We know he was screaming because years later, when the truth finally came out, the brother said, "We saw the distress of his soul when he begged us, and we did not listen." They heard him,
Path of light leads us
and they ate their lunch. I want you to feel the cruelty of that, because this is not a story about strangers. These are his brothers. People who ate at the same table. People who played together as children. People who shared a father.
The dream did not belong to him.
And they sat down to eat while he begged. Then a caravan of traders came by on their way to Egypt. And Judah said,
Tell what God has called.
"What profit is it if we kill our brother? Let us sell him." So they pulled Joseph out of the pit and sold him to the traders for 20 pieces of silver. 20 pieces of silver. The price of a slave. The price they put on their brother.
The spirit, it resides. Very good, my son.
And Joseph was taken to Egypt, 17 years old, alone, a slave, in a foreign country, with no way home. Now I want to ask you something honestly. Where was God in that moment? Joseph had the dreams from God. Joseph was the one God had spoken to. Joseph was obedient when his father sent him. And God let him get thrown into a pit and sold into slavery
How much will you give us for the
and taken to Egypt.
silver, and not a coin more?
Where was God? The answer is in one sentence that the author of Genesis slips in almost quietly. The Lord was with Joseph. Not the Lord rescued Joseph immediately. Not the Lord prevented the pit. Not the Lord stopped the brothers. The Lord was with Joseph. In the pit, on the road to Egypt, in the slave market, the Lord was with him. And here is what I need you to understand. The pit was not the end of Joseph's story. The pit was the beginning.
50 denarii for the silk. Too much
The very thing the brothers meant to use to destroy him
saffron.
was the road God used to promote him. They sold him to Egypt. And Egypt was exactly where he needed to be for the dream to come true. Think about that. The brothers tried to kill the dream, and instead they delivered him to it. No pit, no Egypt, no palace, no throne, no saving the world from famine. The very betrayal that was supposed to end him was the vehicle that carried him to his destiny. Meanwhile, the brothers took the coat. They slaughtered a goat. They dipped the coat in the blood, and they brought it to their father. "We found this. Is this your son's robe?" And Jacob recognized it. A fierce animal has devoured him. Joseph is without doubt torn to pieces. And Jacob tore his garments and put on sackcloth and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and daughters tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. "I shall go down to Sheol mourning for my son." The father wept for a son who was alive. The son wept in a country far away, for a father who did not know he was alive. And the brothers lived with what they had done. There is always a cost to betrayal, even when it seems to go unpunished. The guilt does not leave. It waits. Now here is the question I want to ask you today. Have you been in the pit? Not a pit you dug yourself, but a pit someone else threw you into. A betrayal you did not deserve. A wound from someone who was supposed to love you. A door that closed not because of your failure, but because of someone else's cruelty. If that is you, I want you to hear something. The Lord is with you in that pit, not watching from a distance, not waiting for you to climb out on your own. With you, in it. And the pit is not your destination. The pit is transportation. Because what the enemy means for your destruction,
It was dark for a long time,
God means for your destination.
but here we are, bathed in this light.
What your brothers mean to end you with,
The light.
God intends to use to move you. Joseph did not know that in the pit. He could not see Egypt from the pit. He could not see the palace from the pit. He could not see the throne from the pit. All he could see was the walls around him and the brothers walking away. But God could see everything. From the pit to the palace. From the betrayal to the throne. From the coat in the dirt to the crown on his head. And here's what the story of Joseph tells us about God. He is not surprised by the pit. He is not scrambling to fix a plan that went wrong. He was already in Egypt before Joseph arrived there. He already had a plan. The pit was part of it. I know that is hard to hear. I know it does not always feel like good news. When you are at the bottom of a pit, But here is the promise I want to leave you with today. They tried to kill the dream. They could not. Because the dream did not belong to Joseph. It belonged to God. And what God puts in you, no pit can hold. No betrayal can bury. No brother can sell. The dream is still alive. Even if you are in the pit right now, even if the coat is in the dirt, even if the people who were supposed to support you are the ones who threw you down, the Lord is with you, and the pit is not your destination. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever been in a pit you did not deserve?
Do not despair.
You are not alone.
This is not the end, merely the beginning of the
And share this with someone who needs to hear that the pit is not the end of their story. I will see you in the next one.